Hey everyone, it's Mike, and today we are going hiking. I have been looking forward to this weekend for weeks, genuinely counting down the days, because there is something about being in the mountains, really in them, on your feet, moving through them at your own pace, that does something to me that nothing else quite does. It resets me completely. Today, I am hiking in Rocky Mountain National Park, one of the most beautiful places in the entire United States, and one of my absolute favorite places in the world. It's about an hour and a half northwest of Denver, which makes it a perfect day trip or weekend escape from the city. I am here with Marcus and Priya. Remember them? They finally booked that hiking trip they had been planning for months, and they invited me along. I said yes immediately, without even asking which trail we were doing. We arrived last night and stayed at a small cabin just outside the park boundary. A cabin is a small, simple house, usually made of wood, typically found in natural, rural settings. Ours was cozy and warm, with a wood-burning fireplace and a porch that looked out at the mountains. We made a simple dinner, went to bed early, and set our alarms for 6 a.m. Because in the mountains, especially in Colorado, starting early is essential. The weather in the high mountains can change dramatically in the afternoon. Clear blue skies in the morning can become dark storm clouds by early afternoon, bringing thunder, lightning, and sometimes hail. Hail means small pellets of ice that fall from the sky, like rain, but harder and colder. Starting early means you reach the highest points of your hike before the weather has a chance to turn. We were on the trail by 8 a.m., and it was already one of the most beautiful mornings I can remember. Let me take you through the whole day, because a day in the mountains is a day worth describing carefully and slowly. The trail we chose was called Bear Lake to Emerald Lake, a moderately challenging out and back trail of about 3.5 miles round trip. Out and back means you hike to a destination and then return along the same path. Round trip means the total distance traveled, going and coming back. 3.5 miles is not an enormous distance, but the elevation gain makes it more demanding. Elevation gain means the total amount of height you climb during a hike, how much higher you end up compared to where you started. This trail gains about 600 feet of elevation. Feet is the American unit of measurement for height and distance. 600 feet is about 180 meters. The trailhead began at Bear Lake, a small, crystal-clear mountain lake surrounded by pine trees and rocky slopes. Crystal clear means completely transparent and pure. You could see straight to the bottom. The lake reflected the mountains in the sky so perfectly that it looked like two worlds stacked on top of each other, the real one above and the mirror one below. We stood at the edge of the lake for a few minutes before starting the trail. Nobody spoke. There was nothing to say. The beauty of it was complete and self-sufficient. It did not need commentary. Then Marcus said, "Okay, let's go," and we started walking. The first section of the trail moved through dense pine forest. Dense means thick and closely packed together. The trees were tall and close, their branches filtering the early morning sunlight into shifting patterns of light and shadow on the path. The ground was soft with pine needles, the long, thin leaves of pine trees that fall and accumulate on the forest floor, creating a springy, fragrant carpet. The path was clear and well-marked. Well-marked means easy to follow. Signs and trail markers at regular intervals showing you which direction to go. In a national park like Rocky Mountain, the trails are maintained carefully. Maintained means kept in good condition through regular work and attention. We hiked at a comfortable pace. A comfortable pace means a speed that allows you to move steadily without becoming exhausted. Not too fast, not too slow. In hiking, pace is everything. Go too fast at the beginning and you burn out before the end. Burn out means run out of energy completely. The experienced hiker finds a sustainable rhythm. Sustainable means able to be maintained over a long period without causing damage or exhaustion, and holds it from start to finish. I love that about hiking. It teaches you something important about life. Steady and consistent beats fast and reckless every time. After about 40 minutes of forest trail, we emerged above the tree line. Emerged means came out from, like coming out of a tunnel into open space. Above the tree line means the elevation at which trees can no longer grow, the point where the landscape opens up completely and you are walking through open, rocky terrain with nothing above you but sky. And when that happened, when the trees fell away and the full panorama of the mountains opened in front of us, I stopped walking. I just stopped. I have seen mountain views many times in my life. I have been to this park before, but every single time, that moment when the landscape opens and you see it all, it hits you fresh, like the first time. The mountains stretched in every direction, enormous, ancient, completely indifferent to our presence in the most humbling way. Humbling means making you feel small in a way that is not unpleasant, a reminder that you are a small part of a vast and magnificent. Vast means enormous, almost impossibly large. Snow still covered the highest peaks, even in the warmer months. The snow was bright white against the deep blue sky. Below the peaks, the slopes were rocky and open, bands of dark gray stone, patches of alpine meadow, and the occasional shimmer of a small lake far below. Alpine means relating to high mountain environments. Priya took about 40 photographs in the space of 5 minutes. Marcus stood with his hands on his hips, shaking his head slowly, his expression the one he gets when something genuinely exceeds his expectations. I just stood and looked, letting it be what it was, not trying to capture it or describe it or share it, just looking. Some things are better experienced than recorded. We started moving again after a few minutes. The trail above the tree line was rockier and steeper. Steeper means increasing in incline, going upward at a more dramatic angle. Each step required a little more effort, a little more attention to where you placed your foot. The rocky surface was uneven, some steps on solid flat rock, some on loose stones that shifted slightly underfoot. This is the part of hiking I love most, when it becomes physical and demanding enough that your mind goes quiet. When your whole attention is on the trail in front of you, the next step, the next breath. The city, the work, the emails, the noise, all of it falls away. There is only the mountain and your body moving through it. It's the closest thing to meditation I've ever found. We reached Emerald Lake at 10:25 a.m., 2 hours and 25 minutes of hiking. The lake was, and I want to choose this word carefully, extraordinary. I have a tendency to overuse that word, extraordinary, but I want to use it here with full intention and complete honesty. That lake was extraordinary. The color of the water was unlike anything I had seen before, a deep, vivid turquoise green, not the blue-green of tropical ocean water, but something darker and stranger and more ancient feeling. The color comes from glacial rock flour, tiny particles of rock ground down by glaciers over thousands of years that remain suspended in the water and give it that remarkable color. Glacial means relating to glaciers, enormous, slow-moving bodies of ice. The lake was perfectly still, not a ripple. The reflections of the cliffs and peaks above were so clear and precise that the boundary between real and reflected was almost impossible to find. We sat on flat rocks at the edge of the water and did not say anything for a long time. Eventually, Marcus said, "I cannot believe we almost did not come this weekend." Priya laughed. "I know," she said. "What were we thinking?" We had almost canceled. 2 weeks before the trip, work had gotten busy for all three of us, and we had a brief conversation about whether to postpone. We did not postpone. And sitting at the edge of Emerald Lake on a clear Saturday morning in October, I was profoundly glad we had not. We ate our snacks sitting on those rocks. I had packed, carefully, the way I always pack for hikes, a peanut butter and banana sandwich, a handful of trail mix, 2 granola bars, and a large water bottle. Trail mix is a portable snack mixture of nuts, dried fruit, seeds, and sometimes chocolate pieces, lightweight, calorie-dense, and perfect for sustained energy on a hike. Calorie-dense means containing a lot of energy in a small amount of food. Sustained means maintained steadily over a long period. We stayed at the lake for about 45 minutes, talking sometimes, quiet sometimes, taking photographs, just being there. And then we started back. The return hike was easier physically, mostly downhill, but required different attention. Going downhill on rocky terrain requires care with each step. Your knees absorb more impact, and loose rocks underfoot are more likely to cause a slip. Terrain means the physical features and surface of the land. We moved carefully and steadily. The conversation was easier on the way back, the exertion of the uphill climb behind us, the body warm and loose from the exercise. We talked about the lake, about future hikes we wanted to do, about life in the easy, wide-ranging way that long walks seem to produce. Wide-ranging means covering many different topics, moving freely from one subject to another. We emerged back into the forest section again, and the trees closed around us, warm and sheltered after the open exposure of the high trail. Sheltered means protected from wind and weather. I felt the temperature immediately, a few degrees warmer, the air softer and more still. We reached the trailhead at 12:45 p.m., 4 hours and 45 minutes total. We took off our backpacks and sat on a bench near the parking lot for a few minutes. The particular, tired satisfaction of a body that has worked hard and done something real. My legs were tired, my shoulders were slightly stiff from the backpack, my face was warm from the sun and the wind, and I felt completely, deeply, entirely good. We drove back to the cabin, showered, and made a late lunch together. Simple things, sandwiches, soup, hot coffee. We sat on the porch in the afternoon sun, tired and happy, and talked for a long time about nothing important and everything important at the same time. That evening, Marcus lit the fireplace. We sat around it as the mountain evening turned cold and dark outside, the fire warm and steady in the room. Priya read. Marcus worked on something on his laptop. I sat with my coffee and looked at the fire and thought about the day. The lake, the color of that water, the silence of the top, the mountains stretching in every direction, ancient and vast and completely themselves. I thought, this is what I need to do more of, not less. This. There are certain experiences that remind you what matters, that cut through the noise of everyday life and show you something clear and true and permanent. For me, the mountains are one of those experiences. Every time. I went to bed that night with tired legs, a full heart, and the particular peace of a day genuinely well spent. Thank you so much for hiking with me today. I hope this story took you somewhere beautiful, even if just in your imagination. And if you've never hiked before, I genuinely encourage you to try it. Start small, find a local trail, pack some water and some trail mix, and go. The mountains or the hills or the forests or wherever nature is near you are waiting, and they are very, very good for you. If you enjoyed today's story and you want to keep learning natural, real English, please subscribe to Free Daily English right here on YouTube. New stories every week, completely free, made just for you. Just hit that subscribe button below. Take care, everyone. Get outside when you can, and I will see you in the next video. See you soon.